Hello, everybody. Can you hear me all right? I want to make sure that everything's set up good. Had to play with some settings. I was echoing earlier when I was on with Tommy, so we were private chatting. So I just want to make sure that everything's cool and that you guys can see and hear us. So, but welcome, everybody.
So I'm just trying to find the right position for my phone.
Okay.
That's better.
I know. I'm always playing with the camera, trying to get it to focus for me. All right. Well, welcome, everybody. I hope you had a beautiful week this past week. And this is our 8th episode of Mental Health Live Chat. It is February 22nd, 2020, and I had an amazing week. Well, for the most part, it was an amazing week. I celebrated my 40th birthday. Yay, me. So, but I'm happy. I was here to celebrate it, so I was pretty excited about that. But I do have Sonja with me. Would you like to tell everybody a little bit about yourself?
Where do I start? This is my first stream, so I'm a bit nervous. Where do I start?
Well, you have a YouTube channel, right?
I do have a YouTube channel.
So why don't you tell everybody a little bit about your YouTube channel?
My YouTube channel is called Sonja Mental Health and Homesteading. I have depression myself, and I find homesteading is one of those things that brings me to God and to nature and helps keep me steady. So,
awesome. All right. So if you guys are not showing love to her channel, please make sure you are. She's got birds too.
I do have birds. I have 9 parrots. It's very noisy in my household.
So she understands my bird thing over here that goes on.
Yeah.
So that's awesome. You know, and I've seen some of your lives on your channel, and your birds are awesome. I've seen the ones that you've shown; they are awesome. I personally love birds, so.
Yes.
All right. Well, let's welcome some new people to the chat. We have Miss Denise. She is awesome. She's a great supporter. Love you, girl. Thank you for being here. We have Sonja in the chat, and I also dropped her link in the chat as well to make sure that you guys are, subscribing to her. Show her as much love as possible. It would be awesome. We have the bargain effect, my honey. Welcome, baby. And I will drop the link throughout the show. I'm not sure throughout the episode. If anybody else would like to join us, you're more than welcome. Let's see. Hello, Swamp Picker. Welcome. Thank you for being here. We have Dwayne in the chat. Welcome. And he said, I was late again. Once more, and I will have to write you. I would rather be written up than put in the corner, Dwayne. But thank you for being here, Dwayne. Much love to you, too. Let's see. Who else do we have? Raven, welcome. Good morning. Dwayne says, poof, don't be nervous. We are all friends here. Well, mostly, LOL. Yeah, he's the one that gets stuck in the corner a lot because he gets sassy. But he's awesome. He is very, very awesome. And also make sure that you guys are showing love to each other in the chat as well. Here, if you want to drop your link or anything like that, that's more than cool with me as well. So that way we can show the love and share it. Oops. Where'd you go? I think she'll be back. Yep, she'll be back. All right, we have Mary in chat. Welcome, welcome. Michelle, welcome, welcome. Let's see, who else do we have in here? Did I miss anybody? If I missed you, I apologize, and just write in chat, hey, you forgot me, and I will definitely shout you out and show the love. So, in chat and down below for people who watch after the live, tell me how your week was this week. Like I said, I celebrated my birthday and I got to hang out with my mom, which I haven't done in many, 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 many years. But we hung out and it was awesome. And we got to catch up. And I hope we can do that more often. So now I kind of feel how my daughter feels when her and I go for our mother-daughter dates, as she calls them. And so I kind of felt how she felt or feels when we do that. So it was pretty awesome. It was a pretty awesome feeling. What else happened this week? Oh, our sink decided that it wanted to crack the faucet. So Tommy had to super glue it. And it works. It works. So if your sink ever cracks and it's leaking, just put a little super glue on it. It fixes it. Let's see what else happened this week. Oh, that's awesome, Denise. So Denise's husband Alvin had surgery on his back. I believe that's what it was. And he is doing awesome. So that is amazing. Please keep them still in your prayers for even a faster recovery. So that way, we can get that out there for him. Oh, I'm so sorry, Mary. Keep Mary and her best friend's family in your prayers as well. She's going to say goodbye to her best friend tomorrow. Much love, dear, much love. Know that we'll be praying and thinking about you tomorrow. Hello, Amber. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, it's heartbreaking, dear. If you need to talk, hit me up. I've lost my best friend in high school, and my mom lost her best friend. So I'm here. I know what it feels like. So if you need somebody to talk to, just hit me up, okay? Let's see. I'm going to copy the link again and throw that into chat. Yep. Sonia, I just dropped it. Yeah, my phone never likes me. Never, ever, ever likes me. Tommy, was there anything else that happened this week? Can't think. I don't know. I'm so sorry, Mary. I'm so sorry. If you ever need to talk, just hit me up, girl. I know it's not the same through a computer, but just know that I'm giving you a big, 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 big hug. And if it hurts, I'm sorry. I'll give you a gentle hug. But just know that I'm giving you a hug, sweetie. Oops. You are so very welcome, dear. So very welcome. All right. Oh. Welcome back.
I don't know what happened then.
I know sometimes I'll move my phone a certain way and it cuts people off. And
Oh, hang on.
okay.
We're hearing each other double. Hang on.
Oh. I do it a lot. Not so much now, but I used to do it all the time. And sometimes I still forget. I always yell, oops, newbie move.
I was trying to get onto the chat and it cut me off on the phone, so I jumped on the laptop.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Yeah.
And then the smoke alarm went off for no reason.
Oh. Phones are sassy phones.
Yeah.
So how was your past week?
Yeah, it's been okay. It's been strange weather. It's been cold in the middle of summer. I went to the doctor's a couple of days ago, and apparently I've displaced my shoulder. Ooh. So I think that's another way of saying dislocated.
Yeah. Ouchie.
Yeah.
How are they going to fix that?
Got to go for an ultrasound and an X-ray.
Ooh.
So I'm in the middle of a live, so don't shove your head in it.
Children?
No, my husband.
Oh. Like I said, children?
The smoke alarm went off and woke the whole house up.
Oh.
So, yeah.
Yeah, Tommy's my oldest child. I love you, honey.
Yeah, I often say that my husband's my oldest child.
Because I know when he gets sick, he's worse than the kids.
Oh, yeah, man, flu's terrible.
Oh, yes. Oh, yes, very much so.
Yeah.
I don't know, but I don't know who's the bigger baby, Mr. Pickles or Tommy. Because Mr. Pickles will throw a fit. Tommy doesn't throw fits. He just, let's see, how should I put this? Honey, you still in chat?
No, my husband doesn't throw food around whenever he's cracking a wobbly, but Jelly does. Food just goes all over the floor.
Yeah, I have that too. With the parakeets, our daughter will sweep, and we caught the parakeets doing this. Well, Mr. Kaplan, we caught. She'll watch as Jasmine sweeps the floor, and then Jasmine will leave the room, and she'll take her food out of her dish and she'll throw it on the floor to make it look like she did sweep. So Jasmine gets in trouble, and I think she does this little chuckle thing, Mr. Kaplan does, and but she got busted. Yeah. So now Jasmine doesn't get in trouble for not sweeping the floor. At least in that area.
Jelly's worked out how to open his cage, so he grabs his food bowl and piffs it across the lounge room.
Ooh.
And it goes everywhere. So we've stopped feeding him certain types of food just so it doesn't make a mess.
Yeah.
No. They're cheeky.
Yes. So yeah, because and I was telling you before the live, we have three. We have two parakeets, and then we have Mr. Pickles, who is my Quaker parrot. And Mr. Pickles likes to be the center of attention, as you can hear him. He's the loud one. Well, Kaplan and Remington are yelling at each other right now on top of the cage. We have a piece of driftwood up, and Remington is higher than Kaplan, and Kaplan doesn't like that. So she's yelling up at him, and he's looking down at her like, yeah, keep yelling. I ain't listening. But Kaplan is our spunky one. Remington is our laid back, chill. I'm surprised that Tommy hasn't taken him down, because he spends time with Tommy downstairs. And so Tommy works with him, and that's his bird. And then Pickles, he's our, like I said, the center of attention. And right now what are you doing? He's trying to get the other two to kiss him.
Well, at least it's with love.
Yeah, it is with love.
Yeah.
And now he's yelling at Mr. Pickles. Hi, Amy. Welcome, welcome. So, yeah. But they've helped me. I'd love to have more. But they've helped me with my mental health big time.
Yeah.
I know I was reading an article not too long ago where they're talking about opening up the door for birds, pet birds, parrots, parakeets, all that, as a support animal.
Which would be wonderful. Not all breeds would fit into that, but some of the breeds definitely would, because they're very social animals, and they need one-on-one, especially if they don't have other interaction with other birds. So that'd be really good.
Yeah, and you know, and I did do a video a couple weeks ago where I was talking about PTSD and how, you know, it relates to animals and humans and stuff like that. And they experience a lot of human emotion the same way that we do. They just aren't able to tell us, so it comes out in behaviors.
Yeah.
And it's something that I didn't realize until I was doing my research on it. And Mr. Pickles has PTSD, and so it's kind of funny how you know, Mr. Pickles is my support bird. He's my everything. I absolutely love him. And then I realized he had PTSD just like I do, and I am his support human. And you're almost like, I love you, Mr. Pickles. You're so sweet. And so, you know, he is all about me. I'm mama, and he makes me feel good. And on days that I'm got a rough start, and like, he can sense when my head with my mental health is going crazy, because he'll do like strange things just to like make me smile or to make me laugh and stuff like that. And so he's been a blessing for me big time. And Tommy and I were actually talking this morning, because I've been up since about 5:30, and Tommy's been up since about 3:30 this morning. And so when I got up, he came upstairs, and I stuck my hand in the cage, and I was petting him and, you know, doing all this crazy stuff. And then I was giving him kisses, and because they say you're not supposed to kiss their beak, but unfortunately I do. That's just what we've
You can't help it sometimes.
Exactly. And he does, and like, I'll kiss the side of his face, or I'll kiss the other side of his face, and he does the same thing. It's almost like what is that, Paris, where, you know, they do the cheek kisses, or wherever that is, overseas.
Love birds.
Yeah, and so he does that with me, you know, and he's, hello, Victoria, welcome, dear. And so, but if Tommy goes near the cage, he's doing this hissing thing at him, you know, and it's the funniest thing. And Tommy was commenting, he's like, I can't believe how much of a mama's boy he is. I'm like, well, I'm glad he is, because he helps me.
So he's picked his human.
He has, and Tommy suspects that he was abused by a male, and so because he's very, like, he hisses at Tommy and pecks at him, or tries to bite him when he's on his cage. And if I'm not around and he's off his cage, he'll go to Tommy. But if he's on his cage, or if I'm around, he won't have anything to do with Tommy. But
squeaky toy.
Yeah. Hey, Pickles. Yes, we know you're Mr. Pickles. I wonder if you come over here then. Come over here. And we trimmed his flight feathers because he started getting aggressive. And I'm sorry. Good morning, cousin. How are you feeling, Dustin? Hungover, huh? Well, you didn't do too bad last night. You should have left him up. He deleted some of his videos this morning. He was live last night.
I just want to tell Mothership that I had my coffee. Apparently I wasn't allowed.
Oh. Hello, Craig. I don't remember if I said hello or not to you. So yeah, so I he's being really weird.
Could be the new voice.
Oh, maybe. He's got his foot. Oh, hold on one second. I apologize. Hey, what's going on? Pickles, what's wrong? Come here. It's all right. It's all right. Okay. I've never seen him do that. He grabbed his foot and he started yanking on his foot like this with his wing out. It didn't look right, so I do apologize for having to run and check on him. But he is my baby, and I just want to make sure he was okay. As soon as I got over there, he realized I was there. I petted him, and he seems all right now. But it was weird. I've never seen that before. Never done that before.
I can't let Jelly out at the moment. He's doing mating things with me.
Oh.
So I'm trying to get the kids or my husband to get him out and play with him because I don't really want that.
Yeah, I've read about that. I read about that, how they do that. And around those times, like the mating season time, you're not supposed to touch them below the neck because it'll be a stimulant, and then they want to try to do stuff with you. And
regurgitate food, and it's just gross.
Yeah.
I can pat him on his beak, but then for a couple of minutes, but then I've got to stop because the moment he starts doing that regurgitation thing, I have to walk away.
Yeah.
It's a bit sad because, he's kind of my baby and he makes me laugh, but I can't have that.
Right. And I haven't experienced that with Mr. Pickles, but July we'll have him a year. But when we got him, he didn't know how to be a bird. And so mentally, I don't think he knew how to be a bird because he was used. We're suspecting that he was used as a breeder bird because everything that Tommy knows about birds, he grew up with birds. He grew up with parrots and stuff. And their friend was, I can never say the name right, but he was a specialist for birds type person. And I can never say how to say it correctly. And he taught Tommy a lot of stuff and about birds. And I've been real lucky so far that he hasn't done that yet. But the stuff that the things that he does, like with garbage cans and brooms, and he freaks out. He has complete episode of anxiety, severe anxiety. Yep. And so if a lot of people don't know that when they're used as breeder birds until they're 5 and then they get rid of them, they're no longer useful for them, so they get rid of them. And when the people that we got Mr. Pickles from, when they got him, he was 5 years old, and they got him for $50.
Yeah.
And so and then, like I said, the garbage cans, they throw them in garbage cans and they force them to breed. And it's a very sad thing, and it's to the point, I'm very protective of him because of what we suspect. He's got scars everywhere. See you later, cousin Dustin. I hope you feel better. Oh, and real quick, I did see your question. The reason why I was told and what I read, you're not supposed to kiss a bird on the beak is because of if you're sick, you can pass it to them and vice versa. There's like a disease or something that you can catch from a bird if they have it. And so they recommend you not to kiss a bird on the beak. But
something to do with the saliva in our mouth too is not good for them, and it can make them sick.
Yep. And so I just kiss the top of his beak. I don't go up and kiss him right here or anything, but I just do the top of his beak. So, but he's ornery. Oh, he came out. He just tried to bite Kaplan. She was in his territory. Oh, he's so sassy. He is so sassy.
I have a galah that we rescued. Got hit by a car on the side of the road, and he's got a mangled foot and a pretty bad wing. He'd never be able to be let back in the wild. He wouldn't survive, and he is terrified of vacuums and broomsticks. So whenever I vacuum the house, I have to cover his cage up. He's fine as long as he can't see it. But the moment he sees that long stick, so I don't know what happened to him after he got hit by the car, because we actually bought him off Gumtree, which is you can buy anything off here in Australia. And it's really sad because he can't fly, but he just tries so hard to fly away from it. So we have to cover him up.
That is pretty sad. And it sounds like he's got PTSD as well.
Yeah.
And you know what the thing is you hear about all these animals that have PTSD. Well, now I guess I don't know, I pay attention more now since I did the research with Mr. Pickles and stuff, and doing the talking about PTSD and everything. And there's PTSD in dogs and cats and horses. All animals can suffer. That's one thing, that both animals and humans have the same symptoms. They just can't verbally say it. And so thank you, Victoria, for stopping. Much love. We'll see you later. Hello, Kelly. Welcome.
I have a Maltese cross terrier that I think has traumatic stress syndrome. He is absolutely terrified of people in work uniforms. We rescued him. He had burns all over him when we picked him up, and loud men's voices and anybody in a work uniform, builder kind of stuff. His tail instantly goes underneath his legs and he just runs.
Mom.
He's a lot better now. Yes, Zoe.
I know where I left my sketchbook and pencil case.
All right. Hang on a minute. I need to mute. I'm not sure how to mute on this.
Oh, okay.
It was okay because I could just tell you where I left it.
Hello, Lady Freebird. Welcome. Much love. Great to see you.
The Thursday night one.
Yes.
Okay, it'll be put away.
It was left outside.
Whereabouts outside?
You know the new thing that they built in
Yeah.
It's on the bit when you climb.
Right, Amy? Mr. Pickles does know that I was talking about him, but he's
that's in the pencil case.
He's good, and they're all. Kaplan came to say hi. Let me see if I can get her to come over. Come here, baby.
It's still outside.
Let me talk to Granddad. I'll
No,
see if we can go pick it up.
Yep.
You do realise it's 20 to 5 in the morning.
Yes.
Oh, there she is.
Now I remember.
She just came to say hi.
All right, good night, Zoe.
Night, my girl.
Oh.
She suddenly remembered where she left her pencil case.
Uh-oh.
It's outside in the rain, but it can't do anything about it right now.
No, not at all. Oh, man. Oh, man. All right. I am dropping the link again for anybody who would like to join us.
Zoe's 11. Actually, no, she's 13. Let me get the right child. Don't spit your coffee.
I do that all the time with my kids, so I can relate.
And she actually suffers from high anxiety. And it's interesting how, like, as an adult, we can learn how to have coping mechanisms and not have extreme outbursts depending on the type of anxiety, where Zoe goes into full panic attacks, and we have a full routine that we have to do when she gets to that point, and public places seems to be, and how, depending how much sleep she's had, because Zoe doesn't sleep, it will impact on how high our anxiety is, which I think, her having traumatic stress syndrome with that, is caused by, she's in between two autistic children.
Okay.
And Jessica, as a young child, was quite aggressive. So it was very, it really impacted Zoe growing up on feeling safe.
Right.
Which is, she sometimes talks about it, but I just thought that would be appropriate to bring up, because it's not just like children have a lot of mental health issues as well, and it's not often picked up. It's picked up as bad behavior, same as animals too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. You know, and that's the thing, you know, children, they have to be taught how to cope and how to deal with it and how to work through it. And it's something that, you know, when I was doing the PTSD piece, you know, some people, it's not something that goes away. You can learn to manage it. You can learn to control it. For the most part, not 100%, because you'll still always have some trace of it.
Yeah.
But, you know, with kids, it's really hard because they don't know the words. They don't know the right terminology. They don't know exactly what it is or how to explain it. And it's sad to see, you know, and
it often comes out in an outburst as well, like an inappropriate outburst. And trying to explain it to people sometimes is a difficult part, because it's like, well, why would a child of that age have that issue? Well, and it's not recognised as much in children,
right,
as what it is in adults. It's well, I find in Australia anyway that it's and they seem to be often diagnosed with things like ADHD, because trauma can actually come out like that.
Yep.
So there's a lot of children that are misdiagnosed.
Oh yeah, it sure is. I took a parenting, trauma-informed parenting class. It was something that was offered, so I took it. And the things that they talked about in that class was just absolutely heartbreaking of things kids have gone through. And it's like, I could never, as a parent, I could never understand. I will never understand how another parent could do things like that to their children, or adults in general do things to kids. You know, I don't understand it. I'll never be able to fully grasp it. But I know that no matter what, you know, kids need love, and they need the correct type of love.
Yep.
And so that's where a lot of things that they were talking about, you know, trauma, any form of trauma in children is, I think kids are more affected than adults when it comes to that. Like, they can get PTSD very easily, where it's a little bit harder. I don't know if I'm explaining this right at all. I'm not a doctor or a counselor. I just know the things that I've.
You're making perfect sense to me.
Okay. You know, it's harder for children. I think it affects them way harder than an adult, because they don't have the communication skills to get it out.
And their brain hasn't developed, like that area of the brain hasn't developed for them to even be able to process it in an area that they can understand exactly what's happened as well.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And I know that, like, how they were explaining it to us, the class that I was in, you know, for a child, their brain is like a bunch of wires. It's like a bunch of wires. Okay. And as they're growing up, the wires are being put in the correct places. For a child who has trauma of any form, what happens is those wires don't connect to the proper place because of the trauma. So you have, let's say a child is being abused physically. Okay. So as their brain is developing and they're going through this, the wires where it's supposed to go here, it's not going there. It's actually going over here. So what they were recommending to us is that through certain talk and showing love and understanding and compassion for that situation, you have to try to break that wire and redirect it where it's supposed to go. And so I remembered that, and I was like, that's really interesting. I always thought of my brain as filing cabinets. My whole life, I always thought they were like filing cabinets. And it's a mess in there. Just saying. I'm not very organized in my brain.
Not in alphabetical order?
Yeah, no. I've got ones in file A in file Z, and
I don't even want to look in my cabinet.
So, I mean, you know, and so it made perfect sense for me, you know, when they were breaking that down. And so it's very, hello, Dee. Can't stay long, but I wanted to say that I have reoccurring PTSD from being raised by abusive parents. I can be good at bearing it until I get filled with anxiety and meltdown. Yeah, exactly.
And something that was explained to me, I didn't realize that I had traumatic stress syndrome until I was an adult, and the same with my depression. But it was actually something that was built through trauma through my childhood. And as I got older and there were certain things that happened, it triggered that memory. And though I may not remember that memory in my head, my body and my brain does. And it can re-trigger.
Like subconscious, right?
Yeah,
self-conscious.
Yeah. So though I didn't struggle with it through through growing up, when I hit my 20s was when it actually decided to say hello.
Right.
But going back through into my childhood, because I was a ward of the state, and I look back at my childhood and I actually don't think it was that traumatic, but then there were things that come up like abandonment and all of that sort of stuff. And I don't know, I look at it as like steps or ladders, and eventually you get to that point where the body goes, well, it can't, and the brain, it's like, well, I can't store anymore. So it starts letting you out and it's got to go somewhere. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I usually refer to it as like a bottle. And you know how like a soda bottle, you shake it and you shake it until the pressure builds and builds and builds, and then all of a sudden it just goes poof.
Yeah.
That's how
My kids love doing that.
What's that?
My kids love doing that.
Yeah, I love Mentos bombs. Just saying. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say that word. My bad. I like putting Mentos in Coca-Cola and watching it go. Oops.
You can do it with aspirin as well.
Oh, I didn't know that. Honey, are you in chat? Aspirin. Now we need a bottle of soda. Hello, Crony Crone. Welcome, welcome. I hope I said your name right. Crony G Crone. Okay. I hope I said that right. If I have butchered it, I do apologize. Oh, there you go. Amy's got it. Mentos fountain. I love Mentos fountains.
Just make sure you do it outside because it makes a mess.
Oh, yeah, it does. Yes, it does. Hello, No Money G. Welcome. Yes, it does. It's quite messy, but it's so fun.
It is.
See, there are good things in life, even having mental health, or with having trouble with mental health, that are fun. And
yes.
Ours just happened to be Mentos fountains. And now I have to try an aspirin fountain.
You don't shake it, you just put it in.
Uh-huh.
And the bubbles that the aspirin makes is enough when the air can't escape, and then when you suddenly open the lid, it just And I don't think you can drink it afterwards though with aspirin.
Oh, hey honey. Tommy, do we have a package coming? Because FedEx just pulled up. I don't think we have anything coming, but I could be wrong. Because there's nobody that's living next door on either side of us. So, and he just pulled up.
I'm just going to visit the little girl's room. I'll be back in a minute.
All right, sounds good. Let's see. Craig says exact reason not to take pills with carbonated drinks. I did that once and once only, was in a hurry. There is a package. UPS, yes. Oh, Tommy, door. They're pounding on the door, and I don't know if it's a package that's supposed to be here. He's pounding on the door. Ay, ay, ay. Tell the ducks to go get whatever FedEx is bringing. Yeah, I don't think the FedEx guy would like that too much. Oh. Ay, ay, ay. Just had to message Tommy because I don't know if he's. I don't know what it is. Oh, hold on 1 second. I apologize.
Oh, we both disappeared, did we?
He took off. I apologize. Pounding on the door. He just took off. I tried to get a hold of Tommy to tell him that there's somebody at the door pounding, and he took the package with him, so I don't know what it is. Don't know what it is. He left.
Do they bring it back?
Yeah, they did. I just don't know when. I don't know. I don't remember what Tommy ordered that was supposed to be here, or what was ordered that was supposed to be here. But they did not leave it. So what was supposed to come today? I have no idea.
We were talking before about therapy animals, and I was thinking out of all of my 80 animals that I have, and I know that sounds like a lot, my goat Patch is I've been trying to get him registered as a therapy goat because when I'm at my lowest, or if I'm like, I sit out the back and he just puts his head on my legs and just sits beside me, like, and he's a huge goat. Like, I feed him too much. He's probably a bit overweight, but he's well loved. But
of course,
where Harley, which is Patch's companion, he's very boisterous and runs around like a loony and headbutts things, and he's a bit awful actually at times. Where Patch is trying to sit there and cuddle up to you and give you love, and because he knows you're feeling a bit low, I had a threat of losing both the goats probably about 6 weeks ago, and it was interesting watching, and I could see the spiral of where my mental health was going. Like, I could actually see the depression hitting in, and the patterns of not eating properly, not sleeping properly, going sort of into my own little world. And it really, I sort of sat back and I thought to myself, well, why am I doing this? And it was the threat of losing, to me, which is something that is so important.
Right.
And to someone else, it's like, well, it's just a goat. But to me, that's my world.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's how, like, when Mr. Pickles fell, we believe he had a seizure, and he fell and he knocked himself out. Me and Tommy both thought that he had died, and I was so distraught. And he's being sassy. But I was very distraught, and he wasn't moving, and I just held him, and I just kept petting him, like, please don't go, please don't go. And then he kind of started like coming out of it and stuff like that. And he was still pretty dazed, and he loved his daddy. Oh, did he love daddy? And then when he started, he started getting like, all right, and he was starting to act normal. He was like, oh, this is daddy.
Wrong person. Yeah.
Wrong person. But I mean, and so I can relate, having that fear of losing him. Tom always picks on me. He's like, oh, he's just a bird. But he knows deep down that if we lost Mr. Pickles, I would be so distraught.
Yeah.
Because he's like my child. And that, I'm sure that's how you feel about your birds and your goats and all your animals. Yeah. They're your children.
And I still don't know. Like, I still haven't heard back from the council. So it's the anxiety level of the unknown. But I've sort of pulled myself half out of that hole. Like, there's still bits and pieces I have to do. Right. And those who suffer from depression will understand that sometimes you can go 10 feet backwards and you go 5 feet forward, but it can be that little bit harder to go that little bit more of 5 feet forward to get back to where you were in the beginning. And sometimes it, like, because I've dealt with this for a long time. I've had this happen before, different reasons. But to get yourself out of that spiral, even though you're doing it, it's still hard.
It really is. It really is. And some days, I know for me, with my depression and stuff, I feel like I'm doing really good, and it'll last a couple days or even a couple hours, and then all of a sudden I get thrown back, and it could be the simplest thing. Yep. Something that most people who don't suffer would be like, okay, that's weird. Okay. But but for us, it's hard to know what are you doing? He's over here threatening. I don't know what he's doing. He's being weird, making weird movements. So yeah, ADHD moment or squirrel moment, as a lot of us call, just happened, and I'm sorry. And now I forgot what I was saying. People like us who on a constant basis don't know which way to go. It's a struggle. And then we have people like him, Mr. Tommy, who's right over here, who do things to try to help us move forward that 10 steps that we fell back, as with how you said too, and then sometimes it works to where you can go that extra to not only the 10 but the 2, but then there's sometimes where they'll do the same thing and then it throws us back even further. And I mean, it's a roller coaster. I mean, big time. Woohoo.
And medication is great, but it doesn't work for everybody, and it's not everybody has that brain power to say, okay, well, I know where I'm at and I know where I need to be. Let's take baby steps to get there.
Exactly. Raven says, like, tearing up watching a commercial has been happening a lot to me lately. I cry in commercials, but they got to be good commercials, I
don't watch TV.
Yeah. Well, so we stream our stuff. We don't have regular TV, but we have Roku. Is that how you say it? Roku? Yeah. We have Roku, and we have Pluto. And we have the Roku channel. And both of those have commercials in them. So anytime we feel like we want to watch commercials, we watch one of those two streaming options. And yeah, there are some that are very sad. and make
Yeah.
you cry. And it's because nowadays they seem to know, and it's probably been like this forever. But when you're little, you don't look at it this way. Because I was a commercial kid. I'm not gonna lie. I loved commercials when I was little. I was born in 1980. Okay. When I was little, there was a commercial of the child putting the toilet paper in their back of their pants and the dog pulling it. It was one of those toilet paper
I
commercials.
know that ad. Yeah.
Okay, so what did my brainy head do? I decided that I was going to take and do the same thing as the commercial. And I did something naughty. My mom had no idea. So I did something naughty to where I deserved a spanking. Copper tone? Okay, what is that, like sun lotion or something? I don't know. I just remember that I put, like, I don't know, I was so little I don't remember it, but my mom told me about it. I put toilet paper in my pants and my backside, and I was running around. My mom had no idea. I did something that I deserved a spanking for. And my mom went and smacked my butt. And she was like, and she checks, and all this toilet paper come flying out. And she couldn't help but laugh. She was no longer mad, but I mean, when you're little, you do strange things like that. I probably shouldn't have said this live on YouTube. But eventually, if my mom ever comes on my channel, she's probably going to tell even worse stories about me when I was little.
One of the reasons why Zoe's scared of toilets, well, she's not so much now, but she was when she was little, is that, when you're toddler, you stand on the toilet to flush it.
Uh-huh.
Well, instead of putting a little bit of toilet paper down the toilet, she put the whole roll down there, and the toilet all the water started coming up. And I'm sitting in the lounge room, and like, I laugh about it now, and I did back then too.
Right.
But she thought the toilet was going to eat her because all the water just
coming
came
out
up everywhere.
So it's a toilet monster.
Yeah, the toilet monster. Yeah. It was only a couple of years ago I had to stop going to the public toilet with her because she was scared the toilet monster was going to eat her.
That's awesome. I mean, that's awesome that she thought there was a toilet monster.
That's exactly what we called it, the toilet monster. Yeah.
Crazy. My kids, I used to have to do monster spray.
Like The Sims?
What's that?
Have you ever played The Sims?
Yeah, I've played The Sims.
They've got the monster spray for the monster under the bed.
Yeah, well, I had to do it for the closets because I have so my part of my anxiety, I have a thing where closet doors have to be closed. If there is a door, a physical door on the closet, it has to be closed, and I have to repeatedly check it to make sure that it's closed. Wow, they're really loud today. And so when my kids were little, I would always close their closet doors. Well, I don't know how or why it started. And it wasn't like I was telling them there were monsters in their closet or anything. It was just something that I did. So Jaslyn, my youngest, she would be like, Mom, there's a monster in my closet. And of course, me being mom was like, what do you mean there's a monster in your closet? I was young, I was older when I had my kids, but I was a young mom, and so I was still learning all this stuff, which you never stop learning when you have kids. Just a FYI for the young children who someday will have children. It is a learning experience.
Every child's different.
Exactly. So I was like trying to figure out how I could help her because she wouldn't want to sleep. And so it's not that she ever slept in my bed when they were babies, but they had to be close. So she didn't want to sleep in her bed for fear the closet monster would probably come and get her. And I was like, okay, so we made this monster spray. It's just water and lavender. And we let her keep it by her side of the bed. And before bed, we would spray the closet doors and around the closet. And she started sleeping in her bed. Well, now the child so I bought her this doll. And I did not know that my daughter didn't like dolls because she always played with dolls before. Well, just recently, I found out that this doll that I bought her, it looks like an antique. It lays down, the eyes closed, it sits up. It's got like the hard hair, not actual real hair, baby hair, but it's like the doll hair. It looks creepy now that I think about it, and I feel really bad eating it for her. But I always found it in her closet, buried underneath stuff. And yeah, so she's scared of dolls. And so for a while, she was like, Mom, get the monster spray. Get the monster spray. And I'm like, crap. But yeah, she thought it was a monster. So and now that I think about it, that's where her dolls were in the closet. And knowing that she doesn't like dolls, the things that click when you're live. It was probably dolls that were the closet monster.
I have boxes of China dolls in my garage because for a long time that's what they would get from their grandma. Was a China doll. Well, Jessica's terrified of them. And we didn't know this, but she's absolutely terrified of them. My oldest daughter thinks they're creepy because she used to get them as well. And I don't know what to do with half of these China dolls. But
my grandfather did that too.
Yeah.
He sent us dolls, China dolls every year. I have every single one that my grandfather ever sent me. My cousins, on the other hand, do not have theirs, but I have mine.
And when my mum passed, she had, I don't know, 80, maybe 90 of them.
Oh, wow.
And they're worth money, so it's not like something I can just throw out.
Right.
So there's that adds to the. So Jessica won't go in the shed because she knows they're there. And she's 15, so this is a big fear. But talking about fears in the closet, my son, because he's autistic, he can't, and he looks at his face, he can't read his own expressions.
Okay.
And it scares him. So for a while, he had a wardrobe in his room that had a mirror on the back of it. When you open the door up, and I had no idea he was scared of mirrors. So yeah, we had the whole monster thing in the closet, but it was actually his own reflection that he was terrified of.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So and the only way we worked that out is because one time I said to him, you need to go brush your teeth, and he always brushed his teeth in the kitchen. Because I never thought anything of it until I made him go in the bathroom, and he's like, I don't want to look at myself. I'm scared of it.
Oh, wow.
So, most of that's because of being autistic.
Right.
But yeah, the anxiety that was brought up for him looking at himself in the mirror.
Oh, wow.
Mm.
Wow. Yeah, I don't know much about autism. I know there's many forms of it. And they call it a spectrum disorder now.
It is a spectrum disorder now. And Asperger's no longer exists. That's now in the spectrum as well.
Okay.
Which is crazy, but that's
right.
If that's their way of understanding it, then but yeah, it is a very big spectrum.
Now, I'm curious. Children, like, do they have mental health things go on when they're autistic?
Yes.
I know that autism, like what I do know is that it is something to go on in here, but I mean more of like, do they have like anxieties and depression? Like, is it a higher number? Do you know?
My understanding is that kids, especially if they're high functioning autistic, which means that they can speak and they can communicate, have high anxiety, because with autism, sensory processing disorder normally comes with that, which means their senses are heightened.
Okay.
So hearing, taste, sight, I think there's 7 all up. All of them are heightened, all the senses. We're both, my younger and my middle, with sensory processing disorder, they have erratic sensory processing disorder,
Okay.
which means sometimes it'll be really low sensory or really high sensory. So they could bump themselves and bruise their knee really bad, and then half an hour later they could just give themselves a scratch and it's like they've cut their leg off.
Oh wow.
So
Wow.
so high anxiety is very common with children who have anything on the spectrum, really.
Oh wow. Yes, I don't know much about it. And it is something that intrigues me. Like I would love to know more about it. Um, because I do have friends that have children who are autistic, but I don't know, like, I don't ever want to, not know that they have it and then do the wrong thing that would set them off or trigger, or however you want to put it. I would never want to do that. So learning about it is definitely something that I would like to know more about.
Well, one of the things I've done with my kids is we go to community meals, and I help out. I'll help out in the kitchen, or and we sit down and we eat with the people that are in that room as well. And the kids come along, and in the beginning they found it very, very difficult, but they're in a small environment with lots of people that in a safe area where they can be contained and they can be taught how to react to how they're feeling. And I found that's actually helped a lot, because my biggest fear is that if anything happens to me, are they going to be able to cope in society?
Right.
And I want to protect them, but I don't want to wrap them up in bubble wrap at the same time.
Right. They have to learn, and like with my kids, I've always wanted to protect them. I bubble, as we say, bubble wrap them for many, many years because I didn't want anything bad happening to them.
Yeah.
And you can't always do that. And you can't always protect them from everything that goes on in life. And it took Tommy telling me, you're smothering them. You need to let them learn. They need to experience things. And it just, for me and my anxiety, like it triggered my anxiety pretty bad, having to let them do things on their own when I felt I was more than capable of doing it for them and making sure they were safe. And even to this day, I'm my anxiety is high for when my kids get their driver's license.
Same.
It's
scary. I don't even drive.
I just don't want them to end up in an accident, or that's, I think, what scares me the most is I know how my daughter is. She is just like Tommy, identical to Tommy. Not that Tommy is a crazy driver or anything, but when he was younger, he liked to race and stuff like that. And it took 2 years for me to agree for Jaslyn to even get on a motorcycle for motocross. And I just, it triggers me so bad. And I know that's something that I personally have to work on, because kids aren't going to live with us forever. They're just not. That's just not how it's supposed to be.
No.
Maybe our son, he might, but Jaslyn, she's the one that triggers my anxiety the most, because I know that she's going to be out there in the world, and she's going to do anything and everything. She wants to do, she wants to be an explorer. She wants to drive, do motocross. She wants to be a doctor. She wants to travel, and so it's something I have to work on, but I'm scared. I don't want to get that phone call, I don't.
Yep.
But at the same time, I know that if I smother them and they're like, no, you can't do this, they're going to rebel. They're going to rebel. And I'd rather them be comfortable enough to come to us and say, hey, I want to do this, or I'm going to try this, or I'm going to do that. I'd rather them come to us and say, yeah, this is what I want to do, and what do you think? And we can say yay or nay, but either way, she's going to still do it. I just would rather her be comfortable enough to come to us and say, this is what's going to happen, and go from there. So, okay, so I see the chat is going crazy. All right. So, and a good crazy, not the bad crazy, good crazy. Hello, Emily. Welcome. I did see that you came in, and I do apologize for not acknowledging you right away, but thank you for coming. Amy says, so I still learn with my kids, educational and life. Exactly. Learning to let go, learning to let them be their own person is a big thing for me. And so I get it. Denise says, oh, I just saw it. Where did she say? It just jumped on me. I apologize. Okay. When my grandson comes over to stay overnight, he makes me check the doors and make sure they are locked at least 3 times. He won't go into a room alone at night. Yeah, I don't like the dark either.
No, I have to sleep with the light on.
I don't like water. When I was younger, I was pulled under in the ocean, and yeah, I do not go into water if I cannot see my feet. If I can't see my feet, nope, thank you. And Tommy has tried numerous times. I didn't know how to swim until a couple years ago because of all the experiences I've had with water. Hi, Wes, Max, Gary, welcome. So, and it was in a swimming pool. It was in a clover leaf. It was in a Shamrock swimming pool. We stayed at a hotel that was called the Shamrock in the Dells, Wisconsin Dells. And I was very frustrated at the fact that my kids could swim, Tommy could swim, and I couldn't. And I really didn't want to get in the water, but I could see my feet through the water. And so I pushed myself until I could. Not a good swimmer at all. But I know that I need to jump in and save somebody. I probably will do better getting them to the side of the pool than before, because I would have not gotten in the water before. So, yeah, I'm terrified of water. I don't like dark. I
turn into a baby when we have a blackout. I can't stand the dark. I actually, and it's like a claustrophobic feeling. Like if we have a blackout, I have to find the front door. I don't care if it's dark out there, but if I'm in that house, I just turn into a child. I don't even know that's the right word, but I can't stand it. It scares the living crap out of me.
I know, it's crazy.
The biggest fear is having a blackout when I'm in the shower.
Oh, right.
Because you're naked. You can't just go outside.
I'd be afraid I'd slip and fall and crack my head open and nobody would find me for, well, I live with 3 other people, but I'd just be afraid. They wouldn't find me until the lights came back on. And then it might be too late. Denise said that she has an autistic grandson and she is still learning a lot. I know there's a lot to learn. And that's with anything. It really is.
I think parenting's hard, like even when they don't have autism or any disorder. And every child is different, and every child has to be sort of, I don't know, you have to sort of find the love language and the discipline language as well.
Yeah.
With autism, it sort of it puts a bit of a spanner in the works, but it's so much more to learn because it's different again with that child. There's no manual with raising children or raising an autistic child.
Yeah, because I know, Marie, I know. She said, Destiny, everyone is scared when their kids start driving, but I don't think it's normal to think that, they're going to get behind the wheel and they're going to get into an accident right away. And so our daughter has a 1993 Ford Probe. Okay. We just picked it up for her. In order for her to get a license, she's got to work on it. And she's going to learn everything about the car before she gets her license. She's also going to pay her own insurance because that stuff is expensive when they're young. But we got the car, but she has to do everything else. She has to learn everything about this car, how to work on it and stuff like that. Well, last night, her and Tommy were talking about putting NOS and all this other stuff, boosting stuff into it. And I'm like, she needs her license for 2 years. I think they were messing with me, but I literally I started getting, my anxiety started getting the best of me. And I was like, no, at least 2 years. She's got to have her license for at least 2 years. No. And she's got to learn how to drive really, really well before you do that, because all I could see in my head was her hitting that button and going fast and losing control. That's all I could, and I couldn't control it. And I'm just like, oh, no.
I'm 43 and I don't have my license due to anxiety.
Oh, wow.
The moment I get behind that wheel, I had a bad experience with my maternal mum in the car where I had a guy land through the windscreen and land on top of me and then bounce back out.
Ooh.
And that experience, it's like flashbacks run through my head whenever I get behind the wheel. So it's something it's pretty scary. And it's not me that concerns me. And this probably sounds, I don't know, really arrogant, but it's not my driving that concerns me. It's everybody else around me, because I don't know what their next move is.
Right.
And that causes me, a lot of anxiety. Plus, my husband is a bit of a redhead, so it doesn't help when he's driving. He scares the crap out of me. You make stupid decisions behind that wheel.
Yeah. Well, so I I'm told I drive like a granny. I drive real cautiously,
At least you're safe.
Yeah, but let me tell you, I get road rage. My anxiety turns into road rage. I can be good if there's no vehicles on the road, but the second somebody pulls out in front of me, or they're driving ridiculously, I start swearing and yelling, and my
I
anxiety
couldn't see
gets
you doing that.
And I'm just like, really? Learn how to drive. There's a blinker for a reason. And my kids laugh. They've gotten used to it now, so they laugh. And neither one of them really want to go with me when I gotta go somewhere, because they know. And poor kids. But when they do go with me, they Oh, mom's road rage is gonna kick in. My daughter will yell out the window, drive normal so my mom doesn't yell at you. It's funny, I mean, I can be honest with the fact that I can get road rage pretty bad. This past winter, well, the fall mostly, I probably read about 1 billion people's license plate in our small little town because they don't know how to drive here. Oh, Lordy, do they not know how to drive here? They will pull out, like, we go to turn down our road, right? And we have our blinker on, and we're about ready to turn. Like, we're just starting to turn, and they come whipping out. And I've, like, read so many license plates this past fall and the beginning of winter, and it's, like, trips me out. I'm like, really? I'm like, I don't want to see your license plate. I really don't. So being a passenger, I like when Tommy drives because then I don't have to worry so much about road rage. But when I'm driving, I got bad road rage.
Oh, no, we're holding on for dear life when we're in the car with my husband. He doesn't stop for roundabouts. He just keeps going. And, your heart's in your head and your guts. Oh, it's horrible.
See, Tommy, okay, so we were the snow. When there's snowstorms, my anxiety kicks in because I'm always thinking we're sliding. We are not sliding in the vehicle, but it feels like we're sliding in the vehicle. And we were in Appleton, and it snowed bad. Like, people were going in the ditches, and I knew we were good. I knew it because Tommy was on driving. Won't say if I was driving how well that would have turned out, but Tommy was driving, so I was good. Well, all of a sudden, I just felt like we were starting to slide everywhere, and my anxiety kicked in. He's like, "Take one of your meds." So I was making him nervous. Like, are we sliding? Are we sliding? Are we sliding? And he's like, no. He's like, take one of your meds. I'm like, okay. And I'm like trying to take my medication. And I don't remember how we got home. I don't remember coming home. And it kicked in and I was done. I fell asleep. Poor Tommy. It was nighttime and it was crazy. Yeah, I don't like snow either. We need to move somewhere where there's no snow.
I don't get in the car with my father when there's lightning. Like, you get a lightning strike and he tries to avoid the lightning strike. It's like, Dad, we're going to end up a tree. Just pull over, please. Like, yeah, it's pretty scary. You don't turn the wheel that way when the lightning strikes.
Emily, did you see what she said? Can't be anxious if you're knocked out. Haha, jeez. I do, and I'm horrible. I am a horrible passenger sometimes. My anxiety is high. Not that I grab onto things, and for the longest time, so we have what we call, and it's one of those handlebar things in your truck, right? Or in the vehicle that you can get, climb in the truck or whatever. I call them the oh shit bars. Okay? Because I call them that because I'll be riding in the car and Tommy will do something and I'll grab it and say, oh shit. Okay. So yeah. And so
I might have to pinch that off you.
I'm not the only one that calls it that. I am not the only one that calls it that. Good. And like, okay, so my truck, we've been working on it, getting it ready for the road and stuff. I can drive it around town, no big deal. It still needs a couple parts, but it's roadworthy. But once we got it on the road, right? And there was snow on the ground. And I don't know if Tommy's in here or not. But he was driving my truck And he stopped, turned the blinker on, went to turn, and he floored it. So the back into my truck went like this, right? Slid out.
Oh,
And I was trying to grab onto something. I was doing this. And he's cracking up. And he's like, I realized what I was doing because I didn't know where to grab because it's a new truck for me. And so I didn't know where to grab. At least in his truck, I knew where to grab here. But my brain, it happened so fast that my brain was just all jumbled and I'm trying to grab wherever I can. And there's a lot more room in my truck than there is in his truck. And so, yeah, he was cracking up. He thought it was hilarious. He comes back, or we get back here, right? And he goes, hey, guys, guess what? Mom had a freak out. And Jasmine's like, what do you mean? So he's all like mimicking what I did in the truck. Both the kids now are like, hey, Mom. And I'm like, really? Oh. Yeah. Oh, see, Emily, Tommy does that too. Tommy does that too. She said, I won't say anything, but my husband will look at me like, what? LOL. Yeah, I get that too.
mm-hmm.
I'm Rashaba. I don't know if I said your name wrong, but welcome. Thank you for coming. There was a couple things up here real quick that I wanted to find. Emily said that I have a high-functioning autistic friend. It's so hard because he wants a girlfriend and to live a normal life, but can't get there. He struggles a lot with depression and suicide. You know, that's the thing too. You know, I've never been really a suicidal person, but on Monday I got to call my doctor because my medication is causing me to have suicidal dreams.
Yeah.
And not that I would ever commit suicide, but I don't like it. Have you ever seen the show Quantum Leap? Well, it's a show. I don't know how to describe it. Like each episode, this guy.
Like a dream amongst a dream.
No, it's what the guy did was he would jump into other people and he would help change history and stuff like that. Like each episode was a different thing that he had to go and try to help change and stuff like that. Well, I'm not sure if I'm explaining it correctly or not. On how the show goes, but I've started having dreams where I feel like I'm in a quantum leap episode where I'm going from one situation to another situation to another situation. And in this case, it's now starting to do, it's jumping from like one suicidal scenario to another. And so I got to call Monday morning and set up an appointment to talk to her about my medication because I never had that before. And I've been on this medication for going on almost 4 months, and I don't know if it's normal or not. And so I got to talk to her about that, and it's scary having that kind of stuff go on, and you know, and like I said, I'm not a suicidal person, but these dreams, it's not normal for me, and it's scary and I wake up and I feel like I haven't slept. Like the other day I had one, but I ended up somehow pushing Tommy almost completely off the bed because I was moving around so much. And so that, you know, I feel bad because he ended up getting up because I pushed him out of bed, you know, and it's the medication. I don't know if they have to change it or not, but or maybe go up a dose. I don't know. I don't know how that all works, but I
Have you
went
taken Have you taken anything else like antibiotics or
Mm-mm.
or anything that could have affected the medication that you?
No, no, not at all. I'm just on one antibiotic. I have like a stomach med that I take that I've been taking for a few years now.
Yeah.
And then I have a heartburn med for when my stomach med isn't quite enough. And then I have a vitamin D medication that I take.
Okay. Yeah.
And so, but I've been on all of these, and before I got this medication, and they're like, oh, give it some more time, give it some more time. I'm like, okay, and I've been taking it like I'm supposed to. I made myself a rule that before I climb into bed, I have to take my medicine because it's right next to my side of the bed. And so I have it to where before I can climb into bed, it's right there, it's looking at me, and I just take it, and that after I take it, I lay down. And so I was taking it during the day, but it makes me too tired during the day. And so we switched it at night, and now all of a sudden I'm starting to have these weird dreams, and I don't like them. I have the PTSD nightmares.
Yeah.
So those have stopped with this medicine, but now I'm having these suicide type dreams.
I know since I've had this last mental drop, I don't know what you'd call it, a relapse, I suppose. I've been taking my medication for years. I'm trying. Yeah, so long I can't remember. But now I'm having to take it in the morning and not at night, because if I take it at night, I can't sleep.
Okay.
But when I take it in the morning, it causes me stomach problems. So, but I'd rather have the stomach problems than not being able to sleep.
Yeah.
And that's only been since I've had this last recent relapse, and nothing's changed. So it could be time to change medication.
Yeah,
But
and I'm one that doesn't like medication. I didn't want to go back
no,
on medication, but I needed to. And that's the
yeah,
thing too. I did. I was off medication for a while. I wanted to try to learn how to cope with it without medication. And I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that feel like that, but there is a time when you have to say, I can't do it, because medication isn't a cure. It
no,
helps you learn how to cope, and it gets you to a level where you can learn to manage, learn to cope, learn to
yeah,
figure out how to go about it. And so I thought I failed. And so when I went on the medication, I felt like a failure. I felt horrible because I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it all by myself. I had to get a medication to help me. And so it was a horrible feeling. Now, and since I started doing these episodes on Mental Health Live Chat, I'm learning that I'm not alone in that feeling,
no.
and that it was a good thing that I went on the medication, because who knows what would have happened if I wouldn't have gone on the medication when I did.
I started on antidepressants. My daughter's 23 now, and I had postnatal and prenatal depression. That's
Okay.
when it first really kicked in. And some of it was circumstantial. I still don't think that's right. But anyway, because when I had my first child, I just turned 20, and I'd also had to, like, where my friends were at then was a pattern of life where they were going to end up in prison or dead. So
Wow.
I had to remove myself from that to when I had my child, and I was physically alone at that point, and it was just me
wow.
raising my first child, and I had no idea what I was doing, and I don't think anybody does for their first child. You can never prepare yourself for your
Right.
first child. And so I was on medication then, and probably about 2 or 3 years after I had my oldest daughter, Joss. And then I was able to gradually get myself off them then. And then I had my stepdaughter, then I had Jessica, and then I had Zoe, and then I had Jacob. And it was actually Jessica. I think she was about 4.5, maybe nearly 5, that said something to me, and I can't even remember what words it was, that made me realize, what am I doing? Why am I doing this to myself? Why am I allowing myself to fall and behave the way I am?
Mm-hmm.
And it's amazing, just, the innocence of a child, just those words. And I had no idea what I was doing to myself at that point of time. And I've been on the medication ever since. And we've talked about getting off the medication. And it's funny, the first child I was on medication, and the last child I was put on medication. I have 5 kids. 4 are biologically mine. And Jacob was an easy child, easy birth. He was a dream, an absolute dream. So it's interesting. What triggered me was I'd lost one of my best friends at around 6 weeks after having Jacob. So that's what set me into the spiral then. And trying to get off that medication, because I've discussed it with my doctor. It's a process. It's not something you can just stop.
Right.
It's actually really dangerous to just stop your medication. And I'm at a point now where I'm looking at slowly dropping the medication, but not until I'm over this hurdle.
Right.
Of what's just happened. But with that, I'm going to need intensive counselling, and I think it's called cognitive therapy, where you learn.
Cognitive therapy.
Yeah, I can't pronounce it properly.
It's okay.
Learning brain patterns, and when I first went on the medication, I didn't actually feel like I'd done anything wrong, and that it was my fault as such, because of the experiences that I went through as a child and the things I'd seen. But the second time, I felt more like a failure, not recognizing that I'd allowed myself to get as low as I did.
Right.
That, and having Jessica say what she said to me, and I still to this day can't remember what it was, that the light bulb just went off. And I had to go to my doctor and say, I think there's something wrong with me.
Yep.
And it wasn't depression from having a child. This was different. This was losing a best friend and having, like, the rug pulled out on me. Yeah, I felt like I just rambled then, but did that make any sense?
No, it does make sense. It really does. A lot of us can relate to that. Certain things in life can trigger us, and especially if it's, very devastating. you know, losing a best friend, losing a family member, losing friends, you know, even if they're not your best friend and they're your friend. I mean, all that plays a factor for us. And there's no right or wrong way to handle it. And so when somebody points it out, you know, we don't always see what's going on.
Yeah.
We see it a lot of times. Like for me, I was always being told, why are you so crabby? And I'm like, I'm not crabby. And they were like, yeah, you are. And then in the morning, especially if I'd wake up, everybody would scatter till I had coffee. And I didn't know that it was, because to me, I wasn't being crabby. I wasn't seeing what other people were seeing. And so it, you know, when it gets pointed out to you in a way that you're like, whoa, wait, hold on, what's wrong here? What is going on? You know, and you realize, yeah, you need to talk to somebody because you need help and you don't know what's going on. You're confused yourself because we can't really, we can only tell our experiences and things that we've gone through. And when we do that, we find that other people have experienced the same thing. So we have that connection, like, oh, thank you, God, I'm not the only one, you know, because you do, you feel like you're the only one and you don't realize it. So then you go, you get medication, it helps you, but it doesn't take away everything that's going on. Now, I did see that, I believe, Denise said she's on Lexapro, and I think that's the name of the medication they gave me. It's different name on the bottle, but I think it's the generic form of Lexapro. And I started it, and I actually believe I started it around November, December, something like that. And so, and I think I've talked before about the medication that they prescribed me, because I was happy. I was like, I felt almost immediately like bricks and weights were lifted off my shoulder after I started taking it. And now I feel like they're all stacking back up. And I don't know if it's because it's not strong enough or if it's because of the medication that I'm having these dreams and, well, not dreams, nightmares. Let me correct that, nightmares. And so it's something that is pretty scary. You know, you're always going to have that nervous, scared, standoffish thing about yourself. You know, you're always going to have that. I know I'm always going to have that. But I'm learning to not, like, to break walls down little by little.
Baby steps.
And so with that, I'm like, my brain is starting to do the fry sizzle dizzle on me here. So it's really hard. I totally lost. I stopped right in the middle of it, and my brain went, ugh, on me. I know there was a point there. I know it was something good. Now I can't think of what it is. Because my brain just said, hey, I'm done. I'm giving you the silent treatment. You're going to look like, you know?
I've changed my medication on more than once. I can't remember. I think it was Arrow Packs they put me on originally.
Okay.
And that caused me to become aggressive. It's supposed to you're supposed to have the opposite effect, but it actually caused me to become like very verbally aggressive. And there's a couple that I've been on. One gave me an anaphylaxis reaction, which was very scary. I ended up in hospital.
Exactly?
Anaphylaxis, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, but it's my throat started to close up. I had allergic reaction to it.
Okay. Yep, I know what it is.
And that was really scary. And the one I'm on at the moment is called Favorin. And I'm on 200 milligrams. I can't go any higher on it. Apparently, you're not meant to go any higher on it. The next step, if I needed to go higher on it, would be other medications, which I don't want to do. So I communicate to my doctor what's going on and where I'm at and how I feel, and we look at other alternatives. And one of those is even, which is something I don't get much time to do, is taking time for myself and self-care.
Yeah.
Self-care becomes a big part of managing my depression and my mental health. Because I'm not the only one in the household who has mental health issues. But I'm the primary caregiver, so I need to keep myself at a level where I can function.
Mm-hmm.
It's really important that I keep myself at a level of functioning. And if I don't feel I'm functioning, then I have to take steps, because it's not just me I'm caring for.
Right.
But yeah, as I was saying, I think I just had a brain fart. But anyway, as I was saying,
I love that word. I use that word too, but I was trying to be a little bit more correct.
I never heard of that word until I got onto somebody's live and they use it, and I'm like, that's what it is.
Oh,
that is exactly what it is. Yeah, so it's keeping yourself at check and making sure yourself that's where I was getting. Self-care is a huge part of looking after your own mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not being selfish. If you need to take time for yourself, or if you need to even take a weekend away just to make sure that you're at that right place, that's not being selfish, because you have to be okay before you can look after others.
Right. Yeah, exactly. PC brain freeze. Right, Glenn? Denise said, I've tried other things, but Lexapro is the only one that works for me. I started on a low dose and was increased a little at a time. Now I'm good. Yeah, and I'm trying to push through it. But now with the nightmares, the type of nightmares I'm having, I don't like it. And I got to call Monday morning, and because I thought maybe it was just kind of a fluke thing, it would happen for a couple of nights, but now it's it's not okay, and so now I have to.
It sounds very scary.
It's very scary, and it's the quantum leap part of it that trips me out, like jumping from one scenario to another scenario, and that's the only way I know how to explain it, how it was going and how they happen, and it's crazy, very crazy, and I don't wish it on my worst nightmare, or my worst nightmare, on my worst enemy, so
because that would disrupt your whole day. Like if you don't sleep, and that'd play in your mind as well. Like it'd be something that you'd be constantly thinking about. I know I've had that. I know with medication that I have had, it's caused me to have like dreams within a dream, and that's why I asked if that's what it was. It's like you're dreaming that you're dreaming this.
Uh-huh.
So it's almost like I'm,
Sometimes, yeah.
yeah,
More of like going from one scenario to another scenario to another scenario to another scenario.
yeah,
It's like I'm flashing in and out of each scenario just before the final part of the suicide, each form of suicide. And so it's,
and we're only supposed to remember 30 seconds of our dreams.
yeah, and
Like,
it's,
yeah,
and I'm like, ugh.
yeah,
So when I wake up, when I've been waking up with that, it's like I will go into the bathroom and I will shut the door and just like take a few deep breaths and just try to woosa before anybody knocks on the door. I go in there and I just kind of close myself in there because we have a smaller bathroom, and I just kind of like breathe through it, woosa it. And for people who don't know what woosa is, it's where you take your fingertips and your thumb and you point your finger and you rub your earlobes and you say woosa. So that's woosa. Tommy actually taught me that. And I think he got it from a movie. Let me think. Yeah, I think it was a movie that he got it from. And so, sorry. Whew. And so I use that as much as I can. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad because it doesn't always work, but I always give that a try before anything else. And then when Tommy comes up, I'm the parakeets got covered, and so he's not happy. You're fine, Pickles. Mr. Pickles, you're fine. Yeah, he's trying to take the covering off of their cage.
I don't think Destiny smokes, do you?
What's that?
Do you smoke?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so
yes,
do I.
do. Yes, I do. Usually, if I'm live, I'll vape if I need to. But it's. I'm trying to quit. I'm like in the midst of quitting. But some nights I can. We'll have our cigarette and then we'll lay down and I'm good for the night. And then there's other nights where I can't sleep and I get up and I'm like, my anxiety is real weird, and so I have to go and I have to have a cigarette, and I'll smoke one cigarette a night, but little puffs of it throughout the night. And so I wish I didn't smoke. I am so not gonna lie, I wish I didn't smoke, but it is something that I do, and a lot of times it helps my anxiety. And my doctor at this time is more worried about getting my mental health on track than me quitting smoking or anything like that. You do too many things at one time. If you're trying to change too many things at one time, you're going to fail at it, and you're going to fail miserably at it. And
I remember when I was pregnant with Jessica, because I lost a child before Jessica.
All right.
And when I fell pregnant with Jessica, we were discussing the whole smoking thing, and he actually said to me that it will actually cause more stress on my body giving up cigarettes than it will smoking through the pregnancy, and that the problems that I had with the child before Jessica, they didn't want to stress my body out anymore. And like, I don't smoke a lot, but it is my sanity. Like, especially if the kids are really getting up my nose, because we don't smoke in the house. I can walk outside and have a cigarette and say, "Go away, I'm smoking." Probably not a healthy thing, but yeah, it works.
Yeah, I sometimes I escape just so that I can just have that
Quiet.
moment, you know?
Yeah.
And it does. And as bad as it is, a lot of people that I know that have anxiety, especially anxiety, a lot of people that I know personally, which I didn't know beforehand, but since I started doing all this, you know, they smoke because it helps with their anxiety.
Mm.
And honestly, people are probably not going to like me at this point, but I am telling you, when it becomes legal in our state to smoke weed, you bet this girl's getting a prescription, because I am told that will help me so much more than all these other medications that they keep trying to give me to help. And so this girl will get a prescription and try it. I will try anything at this point to get this to mellow, if that makes sense. But I'm not a weed smoker. But if it's gonna help with my anxiety and my depression and my PTSD, as soon as it's legal here, I am so going. Sign me up. But I saw a question in here that I do want to address, because I don't want to miss it. But I have to find it, so I do apologize. Rizba, and I'm really apologizing on murdering your name. He asked, aren't there side effects when you take these medication or these things for too long? I don't know the answer to that.
Antidepressants, you can get, I don't know if immune is the right word. You have to find the right antidepressant that fits for your body type. And I don't mean size or anything like that, but I mean just what chemicals that your body can take. And I went through quite a few. Now, Arapax were the ones that I took when I first started taking antidepressants with my first daughter. Now, it didn't work for me the second time. And it depends on the medication and what chemicals are in the medication. Now, I'm finding with Fabian, I actually don't have any side effects, except for if I forget to take them. But while I'm on them, and if I take them properly, I'm fine. But coming off them, or if you forget to take them,
it's a form of withdrawal.
It's nasty. And like, I've given up a lot of things in my life, just cold turkey, but there is no way I could do it with that medication.
Right.
No way.
Yeah. I've actually, my experience, and this is my theory. I'll give you my experience and I'll give you my theory. With my experience, there was a lot of times that I would take medication and I would stop cold turkey, and I had bad withdrawals to the point where a couple times I had to go to the emergency room because I was sick as can be. I'm talking sick. And so it was because I stopped the medication without tapering down like I was supposed to. I just was like, I'm done with it. I'm not taking it anymore. And then I didn't, and I had a bad reaction. That was my wrong choice in the matter. I did. I stopped cold turkey, got sick. Definitely do not ever want to go through that again. Now that I'm older and wiser and understand what the medication is supposed to be for, to help and everything, I know that I would have to taper down before I could just stop cold turkey. My theory with your question on is there side effects with medication if you're on it for long periods of time, my theory is I'm sure there is, like with any other type of medications that are out there. You take something too long or too many times, it'll stop working. You could have, I mean, it's my theory. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a counselor. I don't know much about that kind of stuff. But my theory is with anything in life, you're going to have some form of side effects, no matter what you do. It's just, I don't know if there is or not. And I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is. But it's not really talked about. So we really don't know. And so that is my theory. It's not any different than anything else. Marie says, try not to smoke or vape an hour before you go to bed. If you can, it helps me sleep a little better. Okay, I'll try that. I definitely would try that for sure. And she also said, move to Washington. You just go to the store to buy it. For a minute there, I had to stop and think on exactly what you could go to the store and buy, then it clicked before it clicked fast. So that was a good thing. That was a good thing. Yeah, marijuana, it's supposed to help with pain. So Denise, I'm right there with you. Right there with you. All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us. I think we're gonna end here. Thank you, Sonja, for coming on. I hope you will join me again soon. I absolutely enjoyed talking with you. You're amazing. Thank you.
Thank you.
Everybody in chat, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening to us. We will see you next Saturday, 11 a.m. Central Time. And there might be a few things going on this week, but I'm not sure. I have to double check. If there is, I will put up a quick video to let everybody know what's going on this week. Other than that, have a beautiful rest of your week. Much love. Don't forget.
Yep, I can do it.
Yeah,
took me a while to work out how my hands go.
Tommy does this. Tommy does this. So my last thing I would like to say is, you got out of bed today. Be proud of yourself. You are amazing. Keep pushing forward. You are loved and you are not alone. Would you like to say something, Sonja?
I think you just said that perfectly.
All right.
That was beautiful.
And if you guys need anything, you need to talk, you're having a rough time, hit me up on the Shamrock Pixie at gmail.com. I will be more than glad to talk with you. It is down in the description floor, or down in the description below, not on the floor. Oh, it's been one of those days. All right. We'll chat with you guys later. Much love. We'll talk at you later. Bye.